Hello! Thanks so much for stopping by. My name's Rachel. I study neuroscience at the University of Michigan. That means that I study the brain. There are so many cool things that your brain does for you that you never even have to think about. Without your brain, you wouldn't be able to think, walk, or talk. One thing that your brain helps you do is remember where you're located and how to get from place to place. How does your brain do this? To help me explain this incredible feat, I want to introduce you to my friend Pete the Pirate. A year ago, Pete buried treasure on a deserted island. Now, he's come back to find his treasure. But oh no! The wind is just a little too strong and his treasure map decides to go for a swim in the ocean. It's lost. How does he remember where his treasure is now? Thankfully for Pete, his brain and your brain have several ways of remembering how to return to a place you've been before. One important part of your brain for knowing how to get from one place to another is called the hippocampus. Funny name, right? This part of your brain helps you remember things. Within the hippocampus are many neurons. If you've learned about blood cells or skin cells before, neurons are a different type of cell. They live in your brain and act like dominoes. When one neuron gets excited, its neighbors get excited, and then those neighbors get excited. There are so many neurons in your brain. There are thought to be 86 billion neurons. How big of a number is 86 billion? Well, count to 5 with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, imagine counting all 86 billion of your neurons. If each number took you 3 seconds to count, it would take you 8,000 years to count all of your neurons. So can you imagine this many neurons all working together to make decisions? How cool is our brain that it can do this? So how do these neurons help Pete the Pirate out of his problem of not being able to find his buried treasure? Well, remember how I talked about how neurons get excited? Well, each neuron within Pete's brain and in your brain gets excited about different things. Like pretend you're interested in soccer, but your friend loves baseball. In the same way, different neurons in the brain have something that gets them excited. Within the hippocampus in your brain, there are neurons that get excited about where your body is located. These neurons are called place cells because they get excited about places. What do I mean by this? Say Pete is next to an ocean and a big rock. This group of neurons gets excited. But say Pete moves so that he is still close to the big rock, but now has moved closer to a bridge. Now this other group of neurons gets excited. Think of a bunch of different groups of neurons that each own a specific territory of the island, and they get excited whenever Pete enters their territory. So depending on which groups of neurons are getting excited, we can guess where Pete is on the island. Pete's brain uses these place cells to keep track of his location. Scientists that study the brain are still working to understand exactly how your brain uses these place cells to remember locations for a long time. But what we do know is that the same cells that get excited when you're forming a memory of a certain location, in Pete's case when he was burying the buried treasure, also get excited later on that day, such as when you're sleeping or resting. We think that when these place cells get excited again, it helps your brain form a memory and make that location stick in your brain. These place cells are just a part of how you know where your body is located and how you remember directions to different locations. So many types of neurons work together in your brain to help you do these things. It's truly a team effort. And thankfully for Pete, these neurons all work together to help Pete find his treasure. So, the next time you're trying to return to a place you've been before by using your memory, give those place cells a shout of thanks. Without them, you'd be quite literally lost. Thanks for listening.